It's wonderful to work in a project where you can say, "Wow, that's terrible." Keep
I
it
love
in.
it.
In fact, when we were developing the project, that became a phrase. Leave it in, TM. Trademark.
Yeah, I think I heard it in one of the, or 1,000 of the streams. I remember it. They're definitely, oh, that walkway is definitely.
I think SL40 does a great job of replicating Romero's style in particular. He and Tarnsman did most of the Romero maps, and Vivera did one as well.
I wonder if you heard my stomach grumbling right now through the microphone.
Not quite.
Because this, I don't know why, this map just definitely made me feel hungry. I don't know why. I noticed it was definitely grumbling a lot more than before. Oh well, let's go. The wooden floor, this is something that I don't even remember from Doom 2. Apart from like a couple places in Hell probably had the wooden floors. This is interesting. But once again, there's not I am not really going to pay that much attention to these details because it feels like Doom 2, good enough for me. While you can be the person that says you don't, there's definitely a wooden floor somewhere in the map 045 of Doom 2, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I'll be that guy, yeah.
Meanwhile, I just stumble blindly trying to figure out where I've been. Well, the corpses kind of give it away, but still. Let's look at the map. I wonder if I would be...
One, incidentally. In fact, it was roughly around the completion of this map. It might have even been this map that when it was finished and we looked at the statistics of it, we saw that it was actually much too large and in places even much too high.
What's that?
And we trimmed it down a bit, and we did
Really?
some overall comparisons, and we found that it was roughly on par, if slightly larger than most of the maps in Doom 2. Overall, I mean all the maps collectively.
So for some reason, I remember seeing a couple Romero maps in your streams, and with the Romero maps sometimes, and this is definitely the case, it kind of feels like there is a definite list. Well, you did say that there's a definite list of rules that Romero abided by in his mapping, and he is the easiest to imitate for that reason. I haven't saved here. Oh no, I have saved here. And we're back to 30 FPS. But a lot of the Romero maps, and we're back to 60 FPS, nice, definitely feel like the author would just go through the list and make sure to include a lot of, well, maybe not all, but like 90% of the elements from that list in an effort to make it authentic. And here we have like that white floor, the walkway, this open part definitely, and just kind of, I don't know, did any of the Romero maps have like all of his elements in one map ever like this?
I'm pretty sure all of his maps have Romero elements.
Well, Romero, but I mean all of them. Like.
Oh, you mean with respect to layout and stuff like that?
Well, kind of. I mean this feels, and a lot of the maps, the Romero maps I saw in the streams felt like they just had all the Romero elements at once. So they were all a combination of all Romero maps from Doom 2.
Yeah, I would say pretty much all of his maps do that. I think the idea that Essel was going for with this was one that was in some way similar to Circle of Death, in that most of the sort of winding corridors and stuff that Romero features encompasses one centralized area, and Romero always seems to have a centralized area in his maps in some form or another. It might be, as it is the case with this map, one gigantic chasm sort of thing, like the Living End, I suppose is a better comparison. Or it might be more of an intersection, like a map 17 or map 26. Both of those are sort of unimpressive centralized areas, a hub spoke, if you will, is the word we like to use, from which the rest of the map branches out. And so that's what Essel was going for with this one. A centralized area around which the rest of the map is sort of subversive to, or dominated by.
Well, I guess this is just another indication that I'm not really that familiar with that stuff, because to me this definitely feels more like a combination of all the Romero maps, and if I would take one Romero map from the original game, like the Circle of Death doesn't really feel that much like the Inmost Dens, and the Inmost Dens doesn't feel very much like Abandoned... What were Abandoned Mines a Romero map?
Abandoned Mines was, yeah. Inmost Dens was a McGee map.
Oh, well, whatever then. Never mind what I say. I don't know, they feel different from each other.
I will say this, and I do think when Essel first completed the map, it was a complaint that I raised, which, to his credit, I think he saw to an extent and sort of minimized it. And that was that the centralized area wasn't dominating enough. There was like too much stuff around the outside. If you think of something like map 11, most of the map is the Circle of Death in the middle. You know, it's the namesake. It's probably like 70% is the Circle of Death, and the 30% around the outside it just sort of hugs it. And if you take a look at this map, the central area is a little small. It's still very big, but it's a little smaller, and there's so much more of the fat trimming around the side. I'd say that's one complaint about it, but I mean it's very, very minor, and I don't think people are going to care, honestly.
Well, yeah, I definitely don't mind it, but I'm just saying that, yeah, to me, it feels not like I mean, Romero's maps, while sharing a lot of elements, still felt like distinct from each other in some way, to me at least. And a lot of these maps feel like let's make a Romero map which will have parts of each of them, and it will feel like a Romero map, but in a different way, so to speak. And of course, I accept that I don't even remember a lot of the Doom 2 maps that well, because I often quit in my attempts to replay the game. I often quit somewhere around map 8, incidentally.
Tricks and traps.
Yeah. Actually, I think... Damn it.
That chain gunner was a complete ass.
At my replay at work, I definitely rage quit at map 08. Well, I beat it, but then I couldn't bear it anymore and I stopped. So that's as far as I got last time. I wanted to play through the entire game just to prepare for this, but nah. Oh, there's the fucking chain gunner. Finally I noticed him. So yeah, I am not the most qualified, as I've established countless times already, to judge the style, but I feel, because I am me, I am the most qualified person on earth to say how it feels to Antroid. And to Antroid it does feel, it does feel pretty... Who's shooting from there? It does feel fine, and I'm liking it so far. Well, despite saying this is not the style, this is not the style, I am definitely enjoying myself, especially with all the trivia and stuff that you're providing here. I was hoping actually to get some other mappers here, but of course, as usual, there was next to no response to when I said it, like, hey, anyone want to guess?
I'll be able to get something out of them. I'll ask them to pitch in some little tidbits of information or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was... I'm just thinking that we might... Whoa, we might get through the entire mapset just by ourselves before anyone even notices that we are making this Let's Play.
Yeah, well, if you don't encounter something like tricks and traps that you know, can't struggle to get past or something like that. Well, one of the trademarks of the Sandy map is just a complete imbalance, honestly. There'll be moments you'll be inundated with power-ups left, right, and center. You'll find yourself at 200, stocked to the brim. It'll be going easy as peasy, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes a complete bullshit moment, and then the balance is completely thrown out the window. And again, that's one of those other frustrating things that we had so much fun implementing. Wow, Tarnsman, this fight really is completely unfair. Oh no, isn't it? Leave it in. Don't change anything.
Yeah, that's... I kinda wish, I think I even posted in the thread, like, the very first thread about Doom 2, the way it did when you were just starting... Oh, I forgot about this guy. Starting making it, I think I made a post like, if I wasn't so lazy and if I could be asked to research the styles better, I would definitely wish to make this, because it sounds really fun to make maps intentionally flowed in a way that
yes,
follows the...
It is loads of fun.
And I'm a bit sad that I missed out on that, but from actually now I'm retroactively glad also that I didn't try, because from my experience with contributing to Doom 2 in name only, I would probably, if I was in your project, well, I would probably either get kicked out completely and replaced by some other map, or I would delay it in a couple of years, by a couple of years.
You know what? I mean, you could actually end up contributing to evolution the way TNT did, because I mean that's sort of making a flawed product in a different way. The approach we've actually gone for there is to take some of the more pronounced authors, like Drake O'Brien, for example, or Tom Mustaine, and then replicate their styles, but make those maps comprise only half of the overall project, and then the other half would be made up of people in the community who are just making maps in their own style, to get that sort of TNT dichotomy of maps that, you know, there isn't really any overall theme to it. It's all very it's a community made one. I mean, that's basically what TNT is. Maybe you'll agree with that. And so that's the sort of approach we're going. So I mean, if you wanted to, you could easily end up committing to TNT in one of those two ways. You could be, mutated there. You could be copying the style of an existing author from TNT, or you could be making it in the style of Antroid, just in 1996.
I don't really have a style, I don't think, but sounds interesting. Actually,
I think you do have a style. I think I played your the beta of your Chasm map from Doom 2 in name only.
Well, that really shouldn't have been played by anyone, I think. I feel a lot better actually about the finished, of course, version that cost me like half a year to make, because I couldn't be asked to test it. I was just so sick of playing the beginning part. There was the same story with map 29 also. But TNT and I have a very interesting relationship actually. I was convinced, I was 100% certain that I could not stand the entire TNT at all. And I was always, I think I had a lot of opportunities on the forums to say how much I hate just everything about it. But then, I think I watched your stream of it, recorded, and after that I kinda liked it. And I thought, whoa, actually I kinda like TNT for some reason, I don't know.
I apologize in that case, because TNT, you know, I don't actually, TNT's okay, I don't mind it that much, but
there's some stuff in it that I just cannot comprehend how one would look at it and yeah, this is acceptable. Like most of the new textures, a couple of the textures in around map 20 or something, I don't remember TNT at all, but around that there is like this texture that looks like someone photographed like a bit of wallpaper in their flat or in some in a country house or something with a really shitty camera, and then printed it out and photographed it again and went through that process a couple times and then made it a texture that doesn't tile and doesn't fit the Doom palette or anything, and used it only like for one wall in the entire wall. And what the fuck were they thinking there? But and some of the music tracks are kind of the same.
Map 21 are just populated by text. I think like they only appear in that map. Drake O'Brien's style is just so many just textures that clash all over the place, hoggledy-poggledy. It's a complete mess, and he's one of the authors that whose style I'm trying to replicate. It'll be a lot of fun there as well.
Oh, I don't know if I would be able to bring myself to do something that I consider kind of shit.
That, yeah.
I repeat all the time how much I like just this vanilla style, low detail stuff, and I think I was able to fit within the vanilla limits when I made those like 4 maps in my entire life, the vanilla format, 3 of them in name only and 1 of them in Bedlam. And but when I'm left to myself, I make this Z-Doom project where I just cannot help but, I know, one of the latest changes I made in it, actually several of the latest changes I made, are completely against what I stand for, because I made one enemy, when you kill it, it like spills a lot of blood particles around in a way that I absolutely hate about, like, I don't know. I first saw it in, I think, Ultimate Torment and Torture, where you shoot an enemy and there's just this 100 blood particles flying everywhere. And that's something that I really cannot stand usually, but then I made this one enemy do that, and I liked it, and I left it in like that. So I'm a huge hypocrite. And then I made the sky very slightly scroll in a couple maps, and I really didn't think I would want to do that, but I did. So I don't think I would be able to really make a TNT map intentionally terrible. But in a way I liked... I don't remember which was first, DTST or that stream of TNT, but there's a bit of a characteristic between those and a lot of like amateur maps. And for some, where do I go from here actually?
I think there was actually a switch down the other side of this grated building that you didn't hit.
Okay.
You should have raised the...
I thought I hit it. Maybe I died afterwards. Yeah, that... will I be able to run across now? What was I saying? Yeah, actually, for some reason, from my perception, the Russian Doom community does well, and someone said it recently in the thread about Whitemare and Sacrament that we love our fucking TNT for some reason, and I don't know why, but it feels like our community does more of that, where the maps, they have just more ideas underneath them, but the realization is just completely half-assed. And TNT kind of feels like that, like they had ideas for but they really only cared about, I don't know what they cared about, probably nothing, just implementing the ideas, but completely in a shitty way. So that's something I found myself liking actually, but I'm not sure I would be able to do that, but it's interesting. I know, did you by any chance play map 29 in name only?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I completed it or not, but I certainly remember it. It's the one that had all the skin buildings.
Yes, I think Townsman pretty much
just... It was an interesting realization,
no
because that's a very
clip
abstract title, The Living End. I was very keen to see what you're going to do with it.
I was a bit upset at the stream actually, because it was probably my biggest achievement in the project that I was able to make that. Maybe the focus was also kind of difficult to that, but you were able to guess perfectly what it was, I think, in the stream. The Living End was probably the one that I was most proud of in there, because I thought I did an interesting job of interpreting the name, but then Tarms just completely no-clipped through it, and even you said it, whoa, I'm interested. The whole map set was leading up to what the fuck did Antroid do with map 99, and then you didn't really... well,
I mean, I'm gonna have to give it a playthrough again, because I mean, I didn't. I think Townsman was the one who streamed it.
Yes.
And he did the whole thing in one go. And after he got to the end, I think it was actually part through map 24, where he just started clipping through everything else.
I think he started clipping a bit earlier, but he definitely clipped through 2 or 3 my maps, the 2 better maps.
Sideways.
This was addressed during the TTST Let's Play that you said you watched, Alfonso, but I'm calling you out on your bullshit because apparently you didn't.
I didn't watch all the stream, no. TTST. I watched part of it.
Oh, okay. I think I was somewhere near the beginning, but whatever. Yeah, fuck me sideways. I was definitely saying something, but as usual, distractions and of souls and such.
I think maybe I could just finish up saying something that I think I started to say at the end of map 5, and then cut myself off with the yellow key comment.
Oh, go ahead then.
And that's to do with the monster usage. And I was just reminded of when you were going through that blood-filled area with the great building in the middle earlier. And there's a cyber demon there in multiplayer, and it's a very easy to implement, but also very fun to note the way Doom 2 chose to implement its multiplayer monsters. They only ever use boss monsters, unless there's a couple of pain elementals maybe in E3 somewhere. In Romero's case, it's very simple. He just takes a cyber demon, he finds a pit, and then he just puts it in, and he doesn't care. He doesn't add anything else to help you kill it or anything. He just adds the monster, and that's the boss placement. So all of the Romero's maps here just have cyber demons in pits. it's ridiculous. It's so completely lazy how it's implemented. The multiplayer monsters. I think Sandy added Spider Demon in map 12, just roaming around the outside. But it's the same thing. No real thought put into it. Just take a boss monster and slap it in. So we stuck to that rule. Although I did actually add 2 four archviles in map 12, just because I felt like it.
Was map 12 the factory?
That's right, yeah.
Because I have a bit of trouble when people use map numbers in Doom 2, because I completely don't remember the order of them beyond like map 10 or 11. Especially the city maps.
I'll say the name of them, yeah.
Yeah, I am much better with names than numbers. I'm actually, while watching your streams, I'm always constantly surprised how you just look at something, or Tarsman does it, you look at something and say, well, this is map this from this one, and how the fuck do you remember all that?
Encyclopedia. I play too much Doom, unfortunately.
I don't know, I hang out on the forums a lot and I map, not a lot, but constantly, just bit by bit, but I do not actually play that much, I don't know why. There is not much that actually interests me in terms of what the community does, for some reason.
Well, that's kind of unfortunate. I mean, it was actually said this to Tansman a couple of days ago. You know, you can really afford to have a very, very particular interest. Like, you can be very, very fussy with your Doom maps, because there's so much out there that even if you are very fussy, there's still enough for you to play. I mean, it sounds like you're very, very fussy indeed.
I am extremely fussy to the point that if there is no like backstory in the README file or anywhere, I am probably not interested already. So that's
oh, then you'll have to play Tansman's Projectile Hell, which is something he's working on at the moment, because he's focused a lot on the story and that. Something about Liam Neeson being abducted.
Oh,
some absolute horse crap like that.
Tarman's approach to that kind of stuff is probably completely opposite to what I actually...
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, even the stream that I watched today about the 300 stuff, he was talking about, oh, we definitely need to have a lot more fun with the Doom storylines, like make the monsters be, what was he, capitalists or something and stuff like that. I was like, no, please don't do that.
I'll be honest. I might be with Tansman on that one. I think Doom is in many ways a very funny game, and there's no. I mean, it helps to be humorous about it. I think maybe we take it a step too far. I don't think so. I think we're appropriately absurd and stupid.
Well, I'll have you know that I take my Doom very seriously, and I will not stand for this. Actually, I have come to realize over my time on the forums that it's not very nice to say like, no, you definitely, like when someone says people should be doing that more and I disagree, I shouldn't really say no, people should not do that at all, because someone likes it, so why not? But I definitely would not be interested in that kind of stuff, because the Doom storyline to me is an integral part of the game for some reason, somehow, and I definitely care about why am I in this place and what I'm trying to achieve in this place beyond just, whoa, demons, shoot them.
It's actually interesting to know, because we take the discussion a lot further than that. I mean, for us, I think storyline is not at all what's in the text file or what it says on Wikipedia or whatever. It's actually how the levels are made.
Hello, tricks and traps.
You can do a lot of storytelling just through the way the levels are constructed.
Well,
I think
yeah,
something
definitely.
like Back to Certain X is a good example of that, where
do not get me started.
you can experience a great journey, but none of it's really in print. So this is map 7, it's called Counterpoint. We couldn't come up with a good name. I think we named everything else pretty much instantly, but when it came to this stupid map, we struggled for a name for the best part of half a year, and then we said, screw it, we'll just call it this, and we left it at that. It's a map by Tansman in the style of Sandy Peterson, and that's the Spider Mastermind.
I was legitimately scared for my life there for a second, but then I teleported. Alright. I will... In this case, well, I'm just eating them all. Let's finish the job here and restart from. I will definitely then attempt to come up with a name for this map after I play it. Because
please come up with your own thing. I hate Counterpoint. It's my fault. I named it that. I don't know why. Yes, I do know why. I was fed up with it. Trying to think of a name for it.
Bit of hellkeep there.
So this is very interesting because for a while. Tansman and myself, particularly Tansman since it was his map, was struggling to find a way in which you could use the specials for these maps, 666 and 667 I think they are, without seeming like a direct rip-off of Dead Simple. And then it occurred to us that, you know, we can't move these tags, 666 and 667, we can't move them from the slot, and so we have to say, well, why is it that Sandy introduced them? He wanted them to be a very critical part of the map. So whatever idea we had to come up with, it had to use Mancubi and Aratrons in a very centralized way. I think there was a map by Zodiac that used the specials, but it was very arcane, very roundabout, and it was kind of hard to see why id Software would decide to include these tags for something that was so trite, you know, something so very, very simple. So that's or very complicated rather, and roundabout. So that's why that idea was very confusing, and we didn't end up going with Zodiac's map, amongst other things as well. So Tansman struggled with it, and after a while he said, screw it, we have to have Mancubi and Oranitrons as the central thing. So he ended up doing this.
When I play map 7 of the original Doom, I have just this feeling that what they were going for is like the shit just got real. There's these two monsters. Arachnotrons would probably scare a lot of people who think they're as dangerous as Spider Mastermind or something, or just mistake them for Spider Mastermind in the first couple seconds. And there's just these two new monsters, and they're set up in such a way that it's completely surprising and difficult to deal with. And
Yes.
The specials probably just were catered to having that sort of map that, whoa, let's introduce these two demons in completely spectacular way. And I personally would think that you would either just completely abandon and not make use of the specials, or you would do pretty much rip-off of that symbol, because it's too early to judge here, but from what I would think about, I think that they would definitely not work like it did if they weren't really used a lot like in the original map, because if it's even a little more complex than that, then really, I don't know, the point of using the specials kind of lessens or something.
Right, yeah.
Because a lot of, unless, whoa. Oh, okay.
How you doing?
What the fuck happened here? Wait, what happened here? What?
You killed all of the Mancubi and it lowered the whole map.
Yeah, lowered the whole map, alright. Oosh, god damn it, I'm going
That
to die so
plasma gun
fast.
is loud as hell.
Well, okay then. I'm just going to make them all in fight, I guess is the only smart thing to do here. What was I going to say? Yeah, unless you do unless you use the specials in a spectacular way and intentionally like make this a arena that introduces this new... Wow!
Wow. Wow. That is screenshot worthy. That is fantastic.
I think there is 1,000 screenshots like that, so I didn't really take it, but yeah, it was fun. I was like, yeah, unless you use the specials in some way that's really spectacular and really has very much a point of doing that, a lot of more complex maps than that simple, they feel like they would have worked without the specials at all, because there isn't really a need to make like some doorway or something locked until you kill all the Mancubi, because a lot of people usually still kill all the monsters anyway.
That we did try to get around the problem with the special by introducing another one, because we thought, that's something that it might have done. They might have come up with simply a different idea. Granted, we then didn't have to use it in map 7, but this is what we had, and we thought we'd just work with it. Zaza, who was a mapper and also project manager for the project, he toyed with the idea of making so when you kill the Spider Mastermind, it would trigger a special effect.
Would you be able to do that actually in vanilla?
He tried it, but it didn't have the desired effect. You killed the Spider Mastermind, then 6 seconds later the whole map collapsed into a giant hall of mirrors, so it didn't really work out. We did that, there was a lot of thought being put into how the special was used. Because, Dead Simple is really elemental. It's so simple a map, the hint's in the goddamn title, isn't it? So unless the special was going to be used in so simple a way, then you really have to question why it would have included it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we thought of Zodiac's map. But I can definitely see where you're coming from when you say, the other option is simply to not use a special at all. And I think even for a while we toyed with the idea of simply having map 7 not be an arena map, or certainly I toyed with the idea, and having an arena map elsewhere in the map set, say like map 22 or 23 or something like that. Have a Dead Simple there instead.
Because it's, I don't know, even though it does have a big point and you can really feel like it was considered and they really wanted to achieve something specific with the map 7, it's kind of a random thing in Doom 2 to the point that they might as well just not thought of that, and Doom 2 wouldn't have Dead Simple, or they would have a completely different just random gimmicky map at some other place. So I would think that just completely abandoning map 7 for that simple style would be completely fine. But the disadvantage, of course, is that you wouldn't be able to use another kind of special, just make another map use another
Yeah.
kind of spell, unless you did something with, I don't know, the commander kings or something. No, I won't even try to think of something that I would have done. And now this is the exit, I guess. What to name this?
Yeah, good. Please have a think of that, because we were trying for 6 months and we couldn't come up with anything.
Well, I feel like I am pretty good with map names, but I also require like 6 months to come up with good map names. So I don't think I have a quite hard drive space for that. But counterpoint. Huh.
That's my fault.
Counterpoint. No, I'm just thinking.
I was so fed up with it.
I'm thinking, what the fuck would that mean in the context of a Doom map?